After the initial dollar flu outbreak on Black Friday, workers at the United Ironworks, a foundry located close to Washington, D.C., decided to set up a camp in the compound. Within days, the aftermath of the virus was starting to break down society. These civilians took it upon themselves to fight back by using the foundry to produce necessary items that the people could use to survive during this time of panic and chaos. Unfortunately, it wasn't long before the True Sons took control of the foundry, using it to expand their arsenal of weaponry out of sight from the Strategic Homeland Division. However, thanks to a man on the inside, a civilian named Zack Young, or Z, the division were given a heads up, including information of what to expect from the True Son officers that were guarding the ironworks. When I landed a gig at the ironworks, I thought I was set. Medical, dental, the works. 4 days later, the green poison made a joke out of my insurance, and took my parents. Some of the crew set up a camp in the foundry, and we decided to get the lights on and reconfigure the machines to make emergency survival stuff. Try to help people, you know? I guess the True Sons didn't like that. They killed most of us before I even knew what was happening. Apparently they don't think I'm much of a threat, but I've been keeping my eyes and ears open. I swear to God, I'm going to find a way to make them pay. Z sent through an audio diary of what he had witnessed from the True Sons, but after contacting the division, he managed to escape from his captives and contact the local division from a nearby foundry. Keeping radio silence, he made sure to keep himself available for contact so he could assist with the upcoming operation. Heading into the compound, agents were met with strong True Son resistance, led by an officer called Lieutenant Gray. Gray was a former surgeon. When things started going bad, he ended up abandoning his position, taking a number of prescription medicines with him, and leaving his patients to die under suspicious circumstances. Enlisted with the True Sons, he was given training and specially customized equipment to help him along the way. He was obviously an asset for the True Sons, as he was closely watched by 3 bodyguards, willing to put their life on the line to keep him alive. With this, and the ironclad technology he was provided, Gray would be the first hurdle that the agents would have to overcome in order to find out what the True Sons were using the foundry for. Gray used to be a big-shot superstar surgeon somewhere. He stole a whole bunch of drugs, and like a dozen of his patients died in weird circumstances. When the news broke, his face was everywhere. He doesn't know that I know, but I know. I've seen green poison break a lot of people, turn them twisted and sour, but this guy was broken years ago. He wasn't what you'd call a natural-born warrior, but he was given a bunch of training. They even made him a customized MP5 to make it as hard as possible for him to fuck up using it. I've heard his bodyguards rib him for it, but never when he's around. 3 True Sons stick to Gray like glue whenever a fight starts. They have these ridiculously big shields, and their top priority is to figure out the biggest threat to Gray's life and get in the way. His ego is enormous, so he loves this. I thought the True Sons weren't that smart, but still they managed to take some division tech, you know, that hive nano stuff, and combine it with some of the steel reserves in the foundry to make this crazy tough plating. In less than a second, Gray can simultaneously armor up and give himself a dose of combat stims, although I'm pretty sure that's just spice he stole from the hyenas. After taking down Lieutenant Gray, the agents made their way through the foundry with Z's guidance. He pointed out a train that had been kitted out with cannons that was to head on through the forge. Well armoured, Z suggested that they use the molten iron to stop it. Z warned the agents of the forge and instructed them to get to the control room where they could dump the molten metal onto the train car and then fire the water cannons, creating a reaction, disabling the car. But there was one thing stopping them from being able to carry this out: Captain Feezer. Feezer ran a fire station in Washington, D.C. What he cares about most in life is himself. He has no problem stepping on friends and colleagues in order to reach his goals. And when the True Sons came along, he was all about becoming the supervillain that he'd always dreamed about becoming. Using a heavily modified flamethrower, Feezer throws all caution to the wind. He has a bulletproof suit that has him feeling invulnerable to the destruction it can cause. Not exactly hard to find out about someone's past when they won't stop bragging about it. Feezer ran a fire station in DC, blah blah blah, promotion fast track, blah blah. Although he says it was pure merit, That definitely can't be true. The only thing this guy cares about is being the biggest, toughest, loudest asshole in the room. He clearly gives no shit about taking responsibility, but loves taking credit. Even the True Sons brass don't completely understand how the Sandforge control room works, which is just fine by me. It means I'm still useful, and less likely to get shot. This one idiot keeps messing with the panels right outside the door, and shutting down power to the whole place. Still, at least it makes me look smarter when I can actually restore the juice. Fiza bullied one of the engineers into bolting an extra fuel tank onto his flamethrower, and keeps it full of propane. He loves cranking it up and turning the flames blue. The more he cranks, the more dangerous it looks. He's gonna blow himself up one day, hopefully somewhere I can watch. Fiza constantly flaunts safety protocols, like it makes him an action movie star or something. I've seen him spray gallons of gas into the air, and then set it on fire just for shits and giggles, while he was standing right in the middle of it. Funny he never does it without his fireproof suit though. After defeating Fiza, the division realized that they needed to find Colonel Morozova if they were to put a stop to the True Sons' plans. Z directed them towards the main furnace, through the aqueduct. Z said he would make sure that the door would be unlocked and open for them to pass through, but the division instructed him to keep his distance and stay safe. The division managed to dig up a few files on Morozova, but they're heavily redacted. There is not a lot of information saying who she is, or was, but it would appear that she's been involved in some high-level politics. The agents caught up with Z. From the other side of a bulletproof cage, he was frantically trying to open the door that was blocking the division's path. He had disregarded the agent's plea to step back and stay safe, and was about to pay the ultimate price. Colonel Morozova, the officer in charge of the True Sons operation, found him, and quickly gunned him down without a second thought, but not before he'd managed to open the door to the furnace. Although Z managed to get the door open, the agents were met by another True Sons officer, Major Williams. Williams comes from a military background and is extremely loyal to Morozova. He uses a chem launcher that he acquired from a division agent that he'd killed, and then modified it to use different types of ammo. Another piece of stolen SHD tech that he uses is the riot foam seeker mines. He uses this to pin people down from an extended range, even if out of sight. Williams and the furnace stand in the way of the division agents as they make their way through to the train tracks. Agents must gain control of the furnace to be able to progress. After running the diagnostic process, relieving the furnace lock, and attaining the ideal pressure, agents are met by Major Williams, who does everything in his power to stop them from making their way through to Morozova. I avoid Williams like the plague. Most people do. A lot of True Sons seem to have come from criminal gangs or whatever, but he's got a ton of legit military experience. You could just tell by the way that he carries himself. He worships Morozova, and does anything she says. Like, seriously, anything. No matter how fucked up. If half of the stories I've heard are true, he crossed the line so long ago that he can't even see it anymore. I was never allowed to get near the furnace. I'd need years more training, which obviously isn't going to happen now. It doesn't help that the guys love to scare me with horror stories of how easily it can get out of balance, and how fast it could all melt down if you went on your toes. One poor dude apparently got melted to the wall by a blast of super hot steam. Right to the wall. You do not fuck with the furnace unless you're deranged, have a death wish, or both. Which is why I'm not thrilled that Williams took an interest. Regular fire starter ammo is already pretty effective. It starts fires. What more do you want? Well, it turns out Williams wasn't satisfied with that and made a brand new version. He used live targets until he was satisfied that it burned as hot and long as he wanted. He used my friends. He didn't need to do that, but he did. One day he'll get what's coming to him. Riot foam is already annoying enough, and Williams put it in seeker mines so he can nail people from further away. Such a dick. Agents make their way through to an area that shows them the true scale of the True Sons operation. In front of them was Morozova's creation. Essentially a train, completely covered in weapons. Mortars, machine guns, and a huge cannon called the Earthshaker. This train would be used to wreak havoc, able to carry large quantities of troops, and was coated in huge, thick steel plates, so regular weapons wouldn't make a dent. Using a large autocannon, agents managed to derail the train and stop it from continuing on its path to the nation's capital. Although now immobile, it's still a threat. True Sons begin loading shells into the Earthshaker, readying themselves for a mortar attack. It's around this time that Colonel Morozova joins the fight. Morozova is an individual who terrifies everyone around her. She is organized, prepared, calm and collected, and legitimately believes that the True Sons will be successful in their mission to take over the country. She is a powerful speaker, and is able to inspire everyone around her into believing in their cause. I've seen Morozova make one of her soldiers piss himself, without saying a word. She just looked at him while he tried to explain himself. She's like a robot or something. She never shows emotion, but you know she could destroy you in a second with her freaky robot strength. People say they saw her lose her shit once, but I don't believe it. I think rumors like that start up because people want to believe she's human like the rest of us. But I know what she's done. She's not human. She never talks about her past, but her soldiers love to gossip. The only thing they agree on is that she broke some kind of all-time record with her military academy exams years ago. But after that, no one knows where she went or what she did. She knows a lot about a lot. I'm willing to bet she's been all over the world doing bad shit. But honestly, I'm not even sure I want to know. She scares me more than anything. I've never even heard her raise her voice. Dodging mortars, homing rockets, airstrikes, and countless waves of True Sons, the division managed to put a stop to Morozova's plans, eliminating the powerful officer in the process. This operation was a close call. If the agents had arrived much later, they would have missed the opportunity to use the foundry itself to take down the train, and it would have been well on its way into the city. Luckily for DC, there was a civilian named Zack Young on site, who was willing to risk it all in order to stop them. Much like the first raid, there isn't really a huge amount of lore supporting Operation Iron Horse, but reports from Z were a nice touch, and certainly helped build the scene. Apologies if a couple of the bits weren't 100% accurate. I've actually only played through this raid once. It's extremely difficult to find this many people to run the raid in my time zone. I don't think we even have 8 people in New Zealand who play the Division. On that note, I must thank the Exalted clan for pretty much carrying me through on my first Iron Horse clear. They're an amazingly patient and chilled group of people. I'll have a link to their Discord in the description. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Don't forget to check out my socials: Twitter for my whimsical ramblings, Instagram for photos of me doing stupid things with my kids, and Discord where the community basically just takes the piss out of me. Anyway, thanks for watching. Cheers!